Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. I posted a video yesterday talking about the three fighters caught by the Russians in Ukraine, two British citizens and one Moroccan, and that they were handed a death penalty for mercenary and terrorist activities in Ukraine. In Ukraine, a war in Ukraine, and they will be the sentence will be carried on with a fire squad, and they have 1 month to appeal. And I said that in this 1 month, not only that they will appeal, but we will see a month or 3 weeks and a half of yelling, crying, calling names coming from the European countries and other European countries, United States, and other organizations that are going to be just switched on and will condemn the ruling of the court, because it's a Russian court. It's a whatever, Donetsk, Lugansk, unrecognized, blah blah blah. So they must be, rigging the whole evidence. Uh, to be fair, these three individuals, they claim their parents, relatives, they claim that they have dual citizenships, so they are Ukrainians and whatever they are of their breeds and Moroccan, and that they were part of the Ukrainian army. This is what the Ukrainians are claiming and all that. The Russians obviously don't believe that, and why would they? Because they want to make set an example, I guess. And whatever they found, they found. I don't know. Neither do the other ones. But the other ones claim that they already know that these guys are not guilty and they should be, they fall under the Geneva Convention, prisoner of war, and not be executed. We'll find out. But as I said, first these guys are going to start yelling and calling this, and then going to start calling names, and then by the end they're going to come to an agreement or something like, oh, come on, man, we should do something, we should make a deal here. And probably that's going to be commuted from death by firing squad into life in prison, which at one point there will be exchange. I'm assuming that's what I anticipate. I don't think they're going to be killed by firing squad unless the Ukrainians do that with the Russian captives. So it's kind of like, okay, if you do this, we're going to do this. A Russian, a 21-year-old Russian was sentenced for life in prison for killing a civilian. The court was all Ukrainian. It was all done. The whole procedures were conducted by the Ukrainians. So obviously the other ones, the Russians, say, oh, that was not fair. But the West said, no, 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 they were fair, the Western country. And they were fair because they're Ukrainians. They're the good people. And it was not fair here because you are the Russians and you are the bad people by definition. All right. This article comes from the Voice of Ukraine from June 10th, 2022. And this is the title. Amnesty International says death sentences against foreigners who defend Ukraine, blatant violation of international law. What do they know about it? I wonder. Did they conduct an investigation? They have access to whatever the three people's testimonies, the two Brits and one Moroccan, or they just listen to what the other side says, not what this one says, which you don't do this, in the court of law, right? So this is a blatant violation of international humanitarian law on so many counts, said Denis Krivoshev, Amnesty International's deputy director for Eastern Europe and Central Asia. He reiterated that the three were members of the Ukrainian regular forces, and under the Geneva Conventions, as prisoners of war, they are protected from prosecution for taking part in hostilities. Whoa, 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 whoa. Remember the... Oh my. Remember the Nuremberg trials? They didn't fall under the prisoners of war, those guys, the German leaders that were hanged, not as military shot as the custom says. I guess not. We can find all kind of... anyway, but just a question, I asked a question. Okay, the only exception is prosecution for alleged war crimes. Oh, see, so those guys committed war crimes because they gave orders, right? Yeah, I got it now. In which case, there must be sufficient admissible evidence and fair trial standards must be ensured. Oh, uh, fair trial standards must be ensured. Yes, Krivoshiv. Would you talk more about the Nuremberg trials a little bit? I would like to hear your expert opinion on how those trials, how they met the fair trial standards, and how much the defender attorneys had to evidence. That's one of the things. Any other thing? It was a how do you call it? You can't. Was another idea over there that you can't really convict something on a crime that it was not prior, was not named as a crime prior to the prosecution, to the like the whatever they were considered, genocide, criminal, whatever. I'm not defending them, but I'm just saying if it's a fair trial, then be a fair trial, yeah, anywhere. No, so the so-called charges against them would not constitute war crimes. How do you know? And most outrageously of all, the taking of their life as a result of the grossly unfair proceedings would constitute arbitrary deprivation of life. How do you know it was the unfair proceedings? Because you didn't have probably any access to that, I'm guessing. And if you had, then yeah. But Amnesty International believes, believe is something without evidence. Like I believe in God. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but it's something I believe. It's not necessarily based on evidence, on facts, on evidence. It's something that you believe in, like I have a gut feeling, that kind of thing. Believe that willfully depriving a prisoner of war of other protected persons of the right to a fair and regular trial constitute a war crime. All right, so that means they point the fingers to the prosecution here. So willingly depriving a prisoner of war or other protected person of the right to a fair and regular trial constitutes a war crime. Oh, remember how Rudolf Hoss, not Hess, Hoss from Auschwitz, he was trialed and executed. Remember that one? The Second World War? Well, look into that and see if that would be a war crime by the prosecutors. You know stuff, you catch these guys with BS all the time. So Rudolf Hoss, Hoss, he was the director of the Auschwitz. He was prosecuted, bam, 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 convicted and hanged, and you can still have the place, still visit the place where he was hanged. Well, I don't know, just asking questions and giving you some information that I have. Okay, they must ensure this so-called sentence is immediately squashed and that these men are treated in full compliance with international humanitarian law. Russia, as the occupying powers, bears responsibility for the treatment of all prisoners of war and others deprived of their liberty. That's true. And then 2 UK nationals, Aidan Aslin and Sean Pinner, along with Moroccan citizen Sadoun Brahim, were sentenced to death on June 9th by a sham court in the Russian-controlled part of Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast. Both UK and the Ukraine Foreign Ministries have condemned the court decision, saying that the two Britons and POWs are POWs and no sentence of the illegitimate court have any legal force. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. What can you do? Then the Russians going to say, oh, my bad. Why don't you take them back? Get them to Disneyland. And Ukraine's general staff said that any foreign national who defend Ukraine have signed contracts with the Ukrainian armed forces voluntarily and in accordance with Ukrainian law. Well, if that's so, then by all means. I don't know, just reading. According to Geneva Convention, all Ukrainian military service members, legally combatants, should be treated as POWs by the enemy if they are captured. Good, good. I think that's the way it should be if that's the case. Let them, I always say this, when you have this kind of, have a war between two countries, whenever, let's say, I captured these guys, if I try them with my stuff, let's say the Russians conduct a trial court hearings on the Ukrainians, and vice versa, the Ukrainians are only on the Russians. Do you think they're going to be fair? I have doubts. I have doubt because they don't like what's going on over there. So the tensions, the hatred is high, elevated. So I would do it with not only international observers, but I would also include like making international trials, like the Nuremberg trials. But I will not invite the victors. I will invite people outside of this. So not United States or Germany and France and Great Britain. No, I would invite China as well. I would invite Iran. I would invite North Korea. So you have people that really, and see how that's going to come up. And obviously the jurisdiction will be on Russians. They will have jurisdiction of these people, and if they can get along, how do you call it, the trials, then I don't know, they can say, all right, then we're going to try them the way we think, or we're going to hold off to hold the procedures for a little while and see when the things calm down, we'll try again. I don't know. But like this, I don't think we're going to have a fair trial either way, and either side. Well, I would like to know what these guys really did, if they really were mercenaries, terrorists, or they were combatants, they were in the Ukrainian military. Obviously, the decision is and will be changed, I'm guessing. They're not going to be killed. That's my gut feeling. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.